Hello all, welcome back. Well, what am I doing in the garden on an overcast day? Well, I'm going to talk about Dune. Yep, overcast today. Sun is not blaring, thankfully, although it is still about 26-27 degrees. So I'm still staying sensible. I've not drunk now for over a week. That's a record for me. Anyway, why am I wanting to talk about Dune? Well, the Retro Games couple I'd asked about it because they wanted to know which version this is. And in all fairness, it's not till you delve into this game that you realise that really it's not called Dune.
The planet Arrakis, known as Dune. Land of sand. Home of the spice melange. The spice controls the universe. Whoever controls Dune controls the spice. The Emperor has proposed a challenge to each of the houses.
The house which produces the most spice controls Dune. There are no set territories, no...
But anyway, let's begin, because I've got some notes. Look at that, I can just hide them out of sight, make myself look professional. So yes, the game Dune, it is based on Frank Herbert's sci-fi classic, which is an incredible film which, oh my word, what is it, 4 hours long? And we've got that remake version, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed watching it. But as I've said, really, this game is not called Dune. Yes, I know it says that, I know it is. But really, this is Dune 2000. The original Dune came out on the, oh, what have I wrote here? That was it. It was DOS, Amiga and Sega CD. That's the original game. It doesn't play anything like this. If you're into your Command and Conquer games, this is the sort of game that you're going to be wanting to get, because this is what this one is. It's also not to get mixed up with Dune 2, which is really the game I originally played back on the Amiga, which also came out on MS-DOS and also the Mega Drive. Now that'd be one I'd be worth maybe looking at trying to get to give that one a go. So really, this isn't Dune, it's Dune 2000. And like I say, it came out on obviously the PlayStation, but it also only came out on Windows, and that's it. Those are the two formats you had. What is it? It is a real-time strategy game, and it came out back in 1999 for the original PlayStation. As I've already mentioned, if you're into your Command and Conquer style games, then this is going to be right up your alley because it plays exactly the same. It is a brilliant game. What you've got to do is you've got to choose which house and then battle for the control of Arrakis. Now, depending on your house, depends what weapons and upgrades and what buildings you can go for. So you can mix it up a bit. You know, pick a different house once you've completed it. And I say that with a bit of tongue in cheek. I've never completed this. And the reason for that is the later levels, they go on for hours and hours. This is a game also better played on the mouse, and you can get that for the PlayStation mouse. But, oh my word, I think the most time I've ever wasted was 5.5 hours on the last mission to complete this game, and I still failed. And that's why it's also a game At the moment, I don't go back to that often. I just haven't got that amount of time to waste. But anyway, what are the differences between this and the Windows game? Well, the PlayStation port is similar to the original Windows release. However, the graphics engine switched from sprites to 3D polygons, and the screen resolution was decreased for the televisions. It's as simple as that. It's the reason why. But the music is high fidelity. Wow. I hadn't wrote that bit down. And there was about 16 tracks in total. Now, let's open this one up. In fact, let's show you the back first. So you've got a bit of a close-up there, the back. There's the front. I'll try and get some game footage playing as well if I've got the time. And when you open this game up, we'll remove the manual, we'll remove the disc for the moment. Straight away, you're alerted that it's Command & Conquer. I mean, there you are. Those are the others on the original PlayStation, and they do play fantastic. Looking at the front, it's Westwood Studios, but this was released by EA Games in the PAL region. Now that's different because who else? There was another name escapes me. There's somebody else that released it elsewhere, but it's down as EA Games. The problem is when you, there it is, sorry, I'd say EA Games, you ask William, Electronic Arts. As always, I am the professional. And just as I've said here, real-time strategy never looks so sharp. Explore the all-new 3D terrain system, complete with detailed 3D units and structures. Play 3 sides across 30 missions as either the noble Atreus, the evil Harkonnen, or the insidious, is it Ordus? I can't remember. Cinematic quality, full motion video, and that's the bit I remember about this game as well, the FMV. Very cheesy, but it was actually quite good. Besiege the enemy with dozens of units ranging from well-armed infantry, sonic tanks, incredible destructive devastator, and how the hell do you pronounce that? It's basically their take on a helicopter, in it. It looks more like a dragonfly, but it's orthopter. I'll probably get crucified for the way I pronounce that. More ways to play than any other real-time strategy game. Solo head-to-head with link cable. Ooh, man, that was a thing, link cable. Skirmish mode against up to 3 AI opponents. Command your forces with a game controller or mouse. Mouse is definitely the best way to play this game. In fact, the mouse is the best way to play all the Command & Conquer games on the... I nearly said original again. It's just called the PlayStation. It does me nutty. It does David's nutting, but I'm guilty for doing it. You know, it's the original Xbox. It's the original PlayStation. Look. It weren't called that, it was just called the Xbox. It was just called the PlayStation. Anyway, I digress. Dune for the PlayStation game console represents the new look of 3D real-time warfare, brought to you only by the console leader of real-time strategy, Westwood Studios. That was a long, long time ago. The disc, and it is an original black. So, in fact, just while we're there, because I know there's the odd few that are into that, on the sleeve, SLES 02247 for those that are interested. And the manual. I can't remember who sold me this game. Might have been Bin Boot, somebody like that. I asked him whether or not he had complete with a manual, and he said yes. So I actually originally, because I wanted to play it so much, and I didn't want the Amiga version because I played that. In fact, I'd actually go as far as say the Amiga version is bloody easy. So I wanted the PlayStation version to add it to the collection and to, I suppose, fulfill to a point Command & Conquer series. of games, or the Command and Conquer style, because, you know, as they've put in the manual there at the top, Command and Conquer, you know, from the makers of Command and Conquer series of games. And it does just play exactly the same. Sorry. And that's it. But what do I think of the game? Back then, for real-time strategy, I thought it was one of the best games I've ever played. It just felt like a continuation of the Command and Conquer series, which was great. Sorry, I'm shuffling because my legs hurt. Which was great. And yes, the missions take a long time, but there's a lot of enjoyment in playing this when you do fulfill those missions. It is brilliant for that. By today's standard, unless you've really got your PlayStation, if you're playing it on original hardware, you know, with a HDMI out, well, for me, I would say the best way to play this game is on a PlayStation 3, because you've got your HDMI out. If you've got, like me, you've got a test version, you can actually play about with the graphical settings and upscale them a little bit, so you can get it looking as sweet as possible. But it is nowhere near as crisp as the MS version, which was Windows. It's nowhere near as good. Nowhere near as good looking. It does play very similar. The levels, once you get into it, the harder. You will have to replay many missions to complete this. There is no difficulty settings on this. It's just all or nothing, because obviously the further you get in the game, the harder the game gets. And there is a lot of reward, but that final mission, oh my word. The hours wasted, no, not the hours, the days, the weeks wasted is incredible. And like I say, that final mission, I've still not done it. So I'll give it another go at some point, but it's definitely worth a go. And if you've never played this one before and you enjoyed the Command and Conquer series, it's definitely one you should be looking to pick up. So yeah, that's probably it for me. You know, I'd have rated this back in the day probably about an 8 out of 10. By today's standards, the graphics coming down and all that, I'd maybe say a 7, because certainly by today's standards, there's way better strategy games out there than this. But this is such a fun retro game, and if you're into them and you've got the means, it's well worth your time. Right, that's it. I hope that's given you a little bit of knowledge on a classic game there, Dune, for the PlayStation. And if you've enjoyed this and you want to see more of this, I don't mind doing this, reading up on the background of the games, telling you what I know, what I think, how I feel about the game. I certainly don't mind doing this. Right, I'm starting to waffle. I'm going to leave before I get bored of myself. If you've enjoyed this, then please like, subscribe and share. And stay safe, guys. It's a big, crazy world out there. I'll catch you all again. Bye for now.
Woohoo!